Alright, so, here we are. August, what is today? 16th of 2020. The 16th of August, in probably the strangest year of my life, and probably the strangest year of many of the lives out there. Many of you guys have probably experienced an incredibly odd year. And I don't just mean the obvious, like the quarantining and stuff like that. I mean, for some reason, something about this year has just been strange. For a lot of people, nearly life-changing, to be honest with you. How things have just gone from everyday life to completely rethinking and restructuring how we do even the simplest of tasks. Regardless of your views, I won't question what you as people think, but regardless of your views, you have to admit that, at least in the US, obviously earlier before other places, March of 2020 was probably the one month where everything went from living your life in an everyday fashion to figuring out how to live again, no matter how old or young you are right now. For instance, March was a month for me where I was very heavily looking for a new job because I was let go at the end of January for my previous job. February was kind of alright, I guess I'll take some time. And then March immediately became a, nose to the grind, like it does, obviously. And then everything happened at the end of March, and let me just tell you, that's been a lot of fun. Fun being an overstatement, or a variable in this case, meaning incredibly not fun. So this video, this terrible video, is going to be me talking for as long as it takes me to talk. This could have been done over a live stream, I guess. Could have just spoken to people in a live stream, but as personal as that is, personal as that gets whenever I do those, sometimes they don't follow a script or anything, but sometimes they become structured and led by the people in the chat, and that's fine. That's what I want, but I kind of wanted to just talk to my microphone for a little bit, if that makes sense. I kind of did this once before with the I need some help video, the one where I was asking you guys to send me videos, share my stuff if you wanted to, etc. This one is not the same as that. This one is just me talking. This one is just me doing what I do best, which is voice, I guess. For some reason, over 1,040 of you people have chosen to hit that subscribe button to this channel, and I am greatly, greatly appreciative of that fact, though I don't understand it, to be honest with you. I don't personally think I have a great voice for narrations, but a lot of you have said I have a very calming voice, a very soothing voice to some extent, and a lot of you have also said that my voice acting skills are actually good. So that tells me that apparently I'm doing something right with this. In my opinion, I have an incredibly strange voice. I'm a 29-year-old male, and I sound like this. I don't know who I would compare my narrations or my voice to. I've been told I sound like Chills, which is kind of weird, but I mean, to each their own, I suppose. I've also been told by some people that I don't have a good voice for narration. One person a while back actually told me that I had a quote-unquote shitty voice for narration and that I was not allowed to use their story. To which I kind of just said, okay. I don't understand why the aggression was necessary. Just say, hey, I don't want you narrating my story. I don't like your voice. That's fine, but whatever. It is what it is. That was way back, like January, December. We're almost 5 minutes into this video, and I haven't really said much, so let's go ahead and start what I wanted to say here. For those of you who are new to the channel, my name is Raven. I go by Raven on this channel. That's just who I am. It's basically become who I am. And I am, obviously, a narrator. I guess to some extent you could say I'm a professional voice actor, because that's what I do, right? I voice into a microphone, and I do so professionally. I have not been paid for it. Well, technically I have, because of Patreon. But it's not significant, and it's not saying... Let me back that up. Not saying my patrons are not appreciated, nor is that money significant to my life. Just saying it's not a considerably significant amount. It's not like enough to live off of, if that makes sense. I have no direction with what I'm talking about. So my point is, as I said, I guess I'm a professional voice actor at this point. A narrator, if you will, on YouTube's. I also put some of my stuff on Anchor, but I haven't updated it since last month. I don't know if I will, because even though that platform's monetized, I get $0 because no one listens to my crap. And yet I get all the views over here on YouTube, so... Gotta love getting all the views on the platform you don't make money on, right? I'm not ungrateful at all, trust me. I make jokes, I guess, whenever situations are tense, so if I say something that may sound like I'm ungrateful, it's typically going to be me making a joke to try to get you to laugh, because that's who I am as a person. I've been doing this since December 9th, I believe, was my first video of 2019. I created my channel on December 4th of 2019. Created my Reddit account on December 4th, 2019. My Twitter account, I think, on December 4th. Maybe a little after that. Yeah, so my first video went up on December 9th, again, I believe, 2019, and it was a mess. One of my most viewed videos, because it's the first video, obviously. I also used to link people to it whenever I would ask for their stories, so if you ever watched that video and then was like, oh god, I'm never sending a story to this guy, just know I've gotten a lot better over the past 8 months. So that first video, and this is also my statements to newer narrators who may see this, that first video was a mess, in my opinion. I didn't know what I was doing. I was a noob using Vegas Pro. I know how to use Audacity, because I've done audio work before, personally, not professionally. I knew how to use GIMP for the thumbnail, because I've actually done visual work for money before. Maybe someday I'll link that to you guys, but I can't, just because it connects it to my real life, but eventually, right? So I basically sent out some requests to Reddit, and said, hey, can I read your story? I did have a bit of a naive method of doing it. It was just like, I think it was like this 2-page long message that was this long, maybe it wasn't, I don't remember what it was, but I'm surprised anyone said yes, to be honest with you, because I had no channel, I had no content, I had no personality in my message. It was just, hey, can I read your story on my YouTube channel that will exist eventually? I did get yeses from like 5 to 7 people, I don't remember, but they said yes, and then more people said yes, and then more people said yes. I sent out way too many requests for my first shot, and I ended up with 3 videos in a row that were just ghost stories. So my first 3 videos are paranormal stories, more paranormal stories, and even more paranormal stories. I kind of thought I was just going to be a paranormal story channel, to be honest with you. I don't know if I planned on doing that, or if that was what was happening in my requests, but I think I planned it. I feel like I planned it. I feel like I was like, hey, I want to be a ghost story channel. But obviously I've branched a lot. I don't remember where I started into my branching. It was probably cryptids, humanoids, something like that. Yeah, so again, 3 ghost stories in a row, but my point is, those first 3 videos, and again, this is to new narrators and people who listen to my channel and want to go back and watch those, please don't. I didn't understand what dead space was in audio, so if there was a second in between a sentence, I cut it down to like a quarter of a second, because no dead space in audio, right? That's how it's supposed to be. That probably happened because prior to doing this, the channels that I would watch are those like Call Me Kevin, Gray Still Plays, Vinny, Vinesauce, those guys. And if you notice, a lot of their videos have very little dead space in the audio, and that's to keep the audience engaged, right? It's to keep them going and listening to what they're saying, because there's always something going on the screen, there's always talking, it's really loud, it's excessive, it's attention grabbing. Fun fact on that. That is not how narration is done. That is not how voice acting is done. That is not how reading stories for the internet should ever be done. Do not, as your channel is growing and as you're creating it, don't cut out dead space unless it's excessive. I've started to hit a point where I will leave around a second to a second and a quarter in between sentences, up to a second and a half to 2 seconds if it's for dramatic effect. So don't cut out all your dead space. Sometimes you need it for the drama. That's how that works. The human brain wants to know what's next. So the dead space just makes it to where they can't turn away. See? Did it like twice there. Anyway, the second lesson I learned, and the second thing to say to new people is don't read the story fast. If you're reading a story, take the time to enunciate every single word. Take the moment and embrace every syllable of the sentence. Do not let your words slur together. You are not speaking to somebody. You are reading a sentence into a microphone. You are narrating. If the narrators of your favorite cartoon, I guess, if the narrators of a television show that you liked that had a narrator just started reading words like you do as you speak to someone standing in front of you, you would never know what was going on. Did you notice how I over-enunciated every single word in those sentences? That's, again, 1, for dramatic effect, and 2, so the listener can accept what is being said. They have to eat it, basically. It's ingredients to the story. You have to make the story out of the words. If you sloppily smack the ingredients together, the final product will not be pretty. T's are critical. A lot of people who say words that end with the letter T, like eat and cat, not cat, I don't know. I can't think of any freaking words I say with the letter T now, even though I just said several of them in that sentence. They will cut the letter T at the end. Or, like whenever I said critical a few moments ago, critical. It's critical. It's critical. It's critical. But I say critical because it rolls off the tongue faster. Though if I were saying the word critical in a story, I would probably say it was critical. No, I wouldn't say it like that. I don't know how I would say it. I don't think I've ever read the word critical in a story, now that I'm saying that out loud. My point is, make sure that your syllables and your consonants and your vowels all stretch together and become words that the listener can appreciate. Appreciate. That's a good one. Because if you say appreciate, it's just usually appreciate. It's not appreciate. This is going nowhere. No one's going to listen to this, so it doesn't really matter. That's the information on my first videos. I've been asked before, why did I start narrating? And I have to disappoint everybody and tell you I don't have an amazing, I love horror story about this, because, no, not really. I love horror stories. I love horror stories, and I love the true or not true ghost stories, I don't know, or whatever, the true stuff that I narrate. I love all that too. Not one much for horror movies, not gonna lie. Do love me some psychological horror, though. That is absolutely true. But as far as why did Raven grab his microphone and start recording? Why did Raven have a microphone? Because I had a blue Snowball whenever I started, and that's not exactly the cheapest mic on the market that any random person would have. Why did I start recording? I wanted something to do. Whenever I worked my office job from 7:30 to 5 p.m., I would listen to who I consider to be the top narrators. MCP, Let's Read, Your Maker, Swamp Dweller, Southern Cannibal, Corpse Husband. I think those were basically the main ones I've always listened to. And those stories that they would tell would get me through the day. I would usually put my earphones in whenever my boss showed up around 8:30, 9 o'clock to whenever I left, which was between 4 and 5. Obviously, I would turn it off during lunch and during meetings because I had to. But yeah, so their narrations would actually get me through the day. Your Maker, Southern Canny, and Let's Read were and I love all the other ones too, don't get me wrong. But those were the main 3 that I listened to on a daily basis. Now again, Corpse Husband, Swamp Dweller, I feel like I said someone else and I forgot who it was, I'm sorry. They would also be ones I would listen to, but they weren't my dailies. They weren't my listen to them for 4.5 hours straight. The other person was MCP. He was on the daily list too. So what I would do is, there was one day that I probably went in before my boss because he was never there whenever I showed up. I would take like the first hour to go to the channels and just add a ton of videos to this massive playlist that just had so many videos, and I never removed them. I just shuffled it every day. And yeah, so my point is, I'm not like the other people who listen to these stories as they go to sleep. I don't listen to these as I go to sleep. Currently, I watch Cops while I go to sleep. I don't know what that's about. Other times I watch Unsolved Mysteries or Cold Case. Typically, I would listen to lo-fi whenever I went to sleep, or just sleep. That doesn't usually work for me. But I would listen to them during my workday, and it would get me through the workday. So whenever December rolled around and I needed something to occupy some of my time, I started thinking about it, and I'm like, maybe I could be a narrator. Maybe I could do that. And now, mind you, this was at a point where I hadn't been listening to narrators for a while, and I don't know what exactly sparked it in my mind, but I decided to do it. And I hadn't been listening to narrators for a while at that point because I hadn't had the time. Because at that point, I was working a part-time job that demanded over full-time work, trust me. And again, I'll get into that in a minute. I'm already at almost 20 minutes, holy crap. After I cut this out, it'll probably be less than 20 minutes, though. At this point, not like the whole thing. Yeah, so that's why I became a narrator. I just kind of wanted to do it. It was something I wanted to do. Okay. Let's get into the personal side of things. I am an IT person. I actually have a 6-year degree / master's degree in information system security and assurance, specifically in governance and compliance, a 4-year degree in information security systems, and a 2-year degree in computer networking systems. Basically, networking, security, and then governance / compliance. If you don't know what governance and compliance is, let's just say those are the people who make sure the websites you visit maintain their security. They're the people who check off the boxes. So whenever you go to a website like youtube.com and you see that HTTPS, part of their job is making sure that that exists, that SSL, that encrypted connection exists. There's way more to it. That was just the simplest thing I could think of. Specifically, my previous job was vulnerability assessments. I would run Qualys or Nessus against a system and would have a report of vulnerabilities, so any ways an attacker could potentially break into the system or steal information or bring the system down through like a denial of service. And I would then present that information to whoever owned the system in the company, work with them through remediation. It was an incredibly boring job to the outsiders. To me, I loved it. I loved that job. However, I lost that job. Through no fault of my own. I won't get into it in this conversation. Maybe a couple years down the line, I'll be willing to talk about it with everyone. But I lost that job, and that was rough. That was October of 2018. Went a few months without a job, got hired on with a company that did adult education, specifically for the Cybersecurity Professional Boot Camp, which was a 6-month class where I got to teach 15 adults the foundation of information system security. Kind of cool. Teaching was not something I ever thought I would do because I have major anxiety in front of people. Not that you would know with this, right? Anyway, so I got to teach 15, 16 adults how to basically work in the information security industry. Got to teach them the basics like firewalls, got to teach people how to use Linux, got to teach people how to do Python programming to some extent. My favorite week was near the end, which was the governance, risk, and compliance week. So that was fun. I got to teach that from July through January. Quite enjoyed teaching. It was rough, not going to lie. Whenever you have 15 adults who are all struggling in their own lives and wanting to change careers, teaching them something like information system security whenever they haven't touched a system since 2003 kind of gets hard. Most of that class did not have a tech background, and it showed. They were very smart people, but it showed. It just showed they weren't up to date on what they were doing, on like basically the basics of Linux, Windows system security, it just wasn't there, which is fine. Thought I did a good job, in my opinion. However, apparently I made one huge mistake, and that was that I told them to be honest on their surveys. I told them to tell the school and the survey exactly what they thought of the curriculum and exactly what they thought of me as a person and a teacher. So, fun fact on that. If you tell people to be honest on things and they're not happy with certain things, they typically will do it. My ratings as an instructor were good, like damn good. Like, I think the company average for the cybersecurity class was in the 3.5 range, and my instructor rating was like 4.6, so I was way above the average. However, my class was not happy with the content. I won't talk bad about that company, I'm probably not allowed to, so I will just say they had a problem with engineers writing courses that didn't know what they were talking about. They would use outdated terms, outdated technology. They clearly did not work in the security field. It didn't work out. So whenever everything finished, January 15th, I'm assuming my final surveys for the entire class were: instructor is great, knows what he's talking about, is really good at communicating. The overall material failed. So because the students were critical, and I know this because I was told that the students weren't, if the students were critical of the course, it reflected against me regardless of my score as an instructor. So that's fun. I'm assuming the students rated the course poorly. And I was not hired back in March. Kind of glad I wasn't, because then the pandemic happened, right? That'd have been fun, trying to teach students online that didn't know what they were talking about as far as technology goes. Yeah, that would not have worked out. So that is where I am professionally. It's now August, and I still don't have a job. Searching for a job during the pandemic is impossible, especially in fields like mine, where, yes, remote work is an option. It's not typically an option given to somebody who's new to a company. It's something you have to earn over a couple months. So unfortunately, I've been shoved to the wayside for a number of jobs because they weren't at a point where they could hire anyone. They were on a hiring freeze. They were delayed, blah, blah, blah. And then nothing's worked out. The only stuff that's available is 3-month contracts, and I'm not doing that. I'm not going to jump into a 3-month job and then whenever November rolls around, not have money because the situation's still happening. Because it may sound strange, but losing your job is painful to those of you who have never been terminated. Again, both times, through no fault of my own, technically. My instructor survey was fantastic. I know I did a good job. I know they learned what they needed to learn. I know several of them probably got certified. I know at least one of them definitely got certified, but the rest I don't really talk to, unfortunately. But because they shut down our Slack channel. And the previous job, I won't talk about that one. I just, like I said, it was through no fault of my own. It was complete BS. My last review was stellar. And then, anyway. So, if you haven't lost a job like that, you may not know what it feels like, but it's painful. It's rough. So, I don't want to be at a point where it's like 3-month contract and then told, yeah, we're not going to bring you back tomorrow. So, I don't want to do that to myself. I don't want to do that to anyone that lives with me, which is just patience. I don't know why I said it that way. Yeah, so that's me on a personal level. I don't know why I'm telling you guys this other than maybe just get to know me better. I don't really have a sad life and a sad story to tell you. Just wanted to let you know who I am as a person, I guess. And maybe that's a mistake. Maybe doing this, I'll drop back down to 600 subscribers. I don't know. But hey, we hit 1,000. And I was going to do a bunch of icebreaker questions, but this is already half an hour long, so I'm not going to do that. Maybe I'll do icebreaker questions on a live stream. That'll be fun, right? All right, so now every single one of you, if you listened to this point, knows who I am as a person. I'm Raven. I'm a narrator. That's what I do now. Formerly an IT worker, probably never going to go back to that industry. It's not for me. Which may sound really strange coming from somebody who has a master's degree in information system security and governance. guess that's another lesson for everyone out there. If you're going to go long-term education for something like IT, make absolutely sure it's something you want to do, because otherwise you'll end up, ass deep into debt doing a job you don't like. And unfortunately, you only get so long on this planet, and you shouldn't spend your entire life working a career that you cannot stand. It's not worth it. It's not worth doing, regardless of how much you get paid, how wealthy you are, how quick you can pay off your debts, how happy, or not even happy, how financially stable you are, and how much you can afford, a new car, a new television. It's not worth being unhappy. It's not worth waking up every morning and feeling like shit because you have to go to work. It's not worth it. And I know for some people that's not a choice. And I'm sorry that it's like that for you. I really am. I am currently both blessed and cursed with the ability to just do this. I say blessed because I've been able to do it for so long, there's 8 months, but I'm also cursed because it has to come to an end at some point. I have to do something. Financially, we're okay, but, one day I'll be able to make money on this, and you guys will hate me because I'll throw 1,000 ads into a single video. No, I wouldn't do that. Yeah. I don't know. I've adopted a mentality of not staring at what may happen and just accepting what currently is, I guess is the best way to look at it. Because, again, like I said, you don't get much time, so living in the now is the best way to do it, if you can. If you can't, and you are forced to work that job that you hate, just try to find something in your free time that you absolutely can enjoy, because nothing lasts forever, right? Alright, guys. You now know who Raven is as a person. If any of you listened to this point, let me know. I do appreciate it, obviously. And, yeah, I am grateful for all 1,000+ of you subscribers. Even though I probably have a couple subscribers that have never listened to a single video I've ever done. Thank you. You may just be a number, but you're a number that means the world to me. That's to those that don't listen. Not those of you who do listen. You guys are amazing. You've kept this going for 8 months, and I hope to keep doing it for as long as I can. So, in the end, I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you. Yeah, all of you that watch my videos, all of you that don't watch my videos, every 1,040+ of you, thank you for subscribing to this channel. Thank you for joining the Nevermore, if you will. Alright, friends. I hope you have a fantastic day. And I hope you have a great week. And I hope that everything that you're struggling with in your life comes together. And I hope that tomorrow, whenever you wake up, you can just smile. Sleep well.